Creation is finished. This statement, though simple, carries within it the entire structure of manifestation. All things that ever were or ever could be already exist in the eternal now. What you call your future is simply a dimension not yet realized by your senses. You do not create in time, you select in consciousness. And the moment you select a state by feeling it to be real, you step into a dimension where that reality is already arranged. The illusion of time is the illusion of waiting. You are not waiting for anything to be made. You are aligning yourself with what is already done. To feel it is to fuse with it, and fusion is creation. When a man desires something, he is confessing he does not yet possess it. But when he feels it as already his, even before the evidence, he becomes the thing desired. Feeling is not a reaction to the world, it is the cause of the world. Your outer experience is a photograph of your inner assumption. You may not remember the moment you accepted the belief, but your world remembers because it reflects that acceptance. It becomes the echo of your felt inner truth. If you would master this law, you must understand the primacy of inner feeling over outer fact. Most people believe the world outside is first, and the mind reacts. But the wise know the reverse is true. It is the feeling that gives rise to the event. You are not reacting to circumstances, you are giving birth to them. When you feel poor, the world gives you reasons to remain poor. When you feel unworthy, circumstances validate your unworthiness. This is not punishment, it is law. And law is impersonal. It does not bend to your hopes or prayers, it bends only to your dominant state. That is why it is not enough to think of what you want. You must think from it. The difference is vast. Thinking of a desire places it at a distance. You see it as something out there, something you hope to have one day. But thinking from a desire means occupying it. You feel yourself inside it, living as though it were already yours. That feeling changes your frequency, and life organizes itself to match that inner state. To think from is to become, and to become is to create. This is why the concept of already yours is not poetic, it is literal. If all things already exist, then your only task is to match the feeling of the thing you desire. When you do so, you do not bring it into existence, you bring yourself into alignment with its reality. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the door. It is the only medium by which the unseen becomes seen. If you cannot feel it, you cannot have it, not because it isn't there, but because you have rejected its reality. Many make the mistake of trying to feel only once. They imagine a thing once, feel it for a moment, and then return to their old state. And then they say, why didn't it work? But feeling is not a one-time performance. It must become your dwelling place. You must return to it again and again until it becomes more real to you than what your eyes see. For the world of senses is slow to change. It lags behind consciousness. And so you must feel your desire as true, even while the facts deny it. The beginner says, I will believe it when I see it. But the Creator says, I will see it because I believe it. That inversion is the turning point of all transformation. When you learn to prioritize inner knowing over outer data, you gain power. You become a master of your own fate. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the author of your reality. You stop asking life to prove something to you and begin proving something to life. Feeling it is not merely imagining a picture. It is the immersion of self into the experience. You must touch it inwardly, smell it, walk in it. Interact with the people you would interact with if it were true. You must feel the relief, the gratitude, the confidence of the fulfilled state. And when you do this vividly and persistently, something remarkable begins to occur. The outer world, with all its inertia, begins to yield. Doors open. Events unfold. Coincidences align. These are not accidents, they are responses. Because everything already exists, your work is not to build but to accept. Acceptance is the magnetic force that draws the unseen into visibility. And you accept by feeling. You may say words, you may speak affirmations, but if the feeling is not there, The words are hollow. The law responds not to words, but to what those words generate in your inner world. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the command. And the feeling is the proof that you have already received. Let no one tell you it is difficult. It is only unfamiliar. The world has trained you to live by fact, not by faith. But faith is the ability to feel what is not yet seen, and trust that it will be seen because you felt it. Faith is the bridge between worlds. It connects the invisible realm of potential with the visible realm of matter. And the cement of that bridge is feeling. When you feel something as real, you condition your subconscious mind. And once the subconscious accepts a belief, it compels the body and the environment to conform. People move. Events arrange themselves. Circumstances change not because you forced them, but because you assumed a new role in the drama of life. And the stage must obey the actor. To feel it is to become it. To become it is to receive it. You may ask, how long must I feel it? The answer is, until it becomes natural. Until it no longer feels like imagination, but identity. When your desire feels normal, it is yours. And nothing can keep it from you, because you have already taken possession in consciousness. You have moved not in body, but in mind. And mind is the only mover there is. Desire without embodiment is a shadow. It is the echo of something not yet claimed. It is the cry of longing from a heart still uncertain of its power. And as long as you merely desire, you are admitting you do not yet possess. Desire on its own is not wrong, it is the spark. But it is not the flame. The flame is born when the desire is assumed, when it is clothed with feeling, when it is worn like a garment of the soul. It is then that desire becomes causative. Until then, it is merely potential. The act of becoming the thing you desire must occur first in consciousness. This is not metaphor, it is law. You cannot become something outwardly until you are willing to feel yourself as that person inwardly. To remain in the posture of wanting is to remain in separation. Wanting implies lack. It means the desired thing exists outside of you, beyond your reach. But the moment you step into the feeling that you already are what you once hoped to become, the gap closes. You are no longer a seeker, you are a finder. And in the kingdom of the mind, finding is not the result of the search, it is the result of assumption. There is a great error in the world, the belief that action alone changes things. Action is important, but only when it flows from a changed state. Action without consciousness is noise. It is effort without alignment. But when you feel yourself already in possession of your desire, your actions flow naturally, effortlessly, and effectively. They are no longer driven by desperation but inspired by identity. The man who feels rich acts with ease, even when the bank account says otherwise. The woman who feels love moves with grace, even before the relationship appears. This is not delusion, it is creation. The outer world is a mirror. It reflects the contents of your inner world. It is not a judge, nor is it a master. It is an obedient servant, always arranging itself to reflect what you believe to be true. And belief is not confirmed by words, it is confirmed by feeling. You can say, I am wealthy all day long, but if you feel poor, the world must mirror that feeling. This is why the inner state is supreme. It is the seed of all phenomena. Your body may be in the same place, but if your mind moves into the state of the wish fulfilled, then your world will soon follow. When you feel something deeply and persistently, you fuse with it. You and the state become one. And from that oneness, life must take shape to match. There is no outer condition that can resist the inner truth once it is fully accepted. The law is exact: what you are conscious of being, you become. Not what you want to be, not what you hope to attract, but what you are aware of, what you feel yourself to be in this moment. And the wonderful thing is, you are free to choose. No one can stop you from selecting a new state. The only requirement is that you accept it emotionally. To live in the end is to dwell in the world where your desire is already fact. It is to stop looking for it and begin living from it. It is to cease yearning and start enjoying. This shift is not something others will see immediately, but you will know. You will feel a new peace. You will act with new confidence. And that shift will ripple outward, drawing to you all that is consistent with your new identity. Because the world can only give to you what you have already claimed for yourself in feeling. This is not about pretending. Pretending is brittle, it breaks under pressure. But feeling is durable. Feeling is reality. When you feel something, you imprint it into your subconscious. And the subconscious is the builder of your world. It organizes circumstances, opens doors, influences others, all in obedience to the command of your inner feeling. It does not question, it does not argue. It simply accepts what you feel to be true and brings it forth. You may look at your life and see contradiction. You may say, but I do not have what I want. The facts deny my desire. That is irrelevant. The facts of today were born of the feelings of yesterday. If you do not like the facts, do not fight them, change your feeling. Go within and assume the new state. Feel it as real. Live in it. Return to it again and again. And in time, the facts must bow to the feeling. They have no choice. They are the echo, not the voice. The voice is your assumption, your inner conviction, your felt truth. So let your desire move from longing to embodiment. Let it no longer be a wish, but a condition of your being. Say not, I want to be, but I am. Let that phrase ring in your mind, not as an affirmation repeated by rote, but as a declaration born of feeling. I am successful. I am healed. I am whole. I am free. Let each phrase be soaked with feeling until it takes root in your subconscious and blossoms in your world. All transformation begins with identification. The moment you identify with a new state, you activate its power. You shift timelines, you enter a new version of yourself. And from that place you speak, act, and live differently, not by force, but by nature. You no longer act to become, you act because you are. And the world responds to who you are being, not to what you are doing. This is the way of all true manifestation. Not by strain, but by surrender. Not by forcing outcomes, but by feeling them into being. You cannot beg for what is already yours. You must accept it, embody it, rest in it. And when you do, you will find that life does not withhold. It only waits for your recognition. It waits for your assumption. It waits for you to say, in the quiet confidence of inner knowing, it is done. And from that moment, the world will begin to align. Not because you fought for it, but because you became it. You are always creating, not at moments of effort or through rituals alone, but in every breath, every thought, and every emotion. Creation is not confined to the grand gestures. It unfolds quietly in the background of your being, shaped by what you continually accept as true about yourself and your world. Most live unaware of this constant activity, believing that events happen to them rather than through them. But when you understand that every experience in your life is a direct result of your inner state, you take back the power that was never lost, only forgotten. You cannot escape creation because consciousness never ceases. Even in your sleep, you are shaping your future. It is the dominant state you carry, the feeling you live from most often, that hardens into fact. This is why you must become aware of what you are allowing yourself to feel repeatedly. The outer world is not determining your state, it is reflecting it. If your world is filled with lack, conflict, delay, or disappointment, look not to the people or events involved, but to the self you have been assuming. You are never a passive witness. You are the projector, not the screen. Every image held long enough in your imagination, charged with emotion and repetition, must eventually step out of the invisible and become visible. You may not trace the exact path, and often it will come in ways unexpected, but it will come. The reason is simple: you are consciousness, and consciousness impresses itself into form. It is not a matter of if, but of when, and the when is determined by the intensity and persistence of your inner state. You are not rewarded for effort, you are rewarded by assumption. An assumption is merely the sustained feeling of already being what you desire. This law is always at work. It does not switch on when you affirm or visualize and then disappear. It operates whether you direct it or not. If you do not choose your assumptions consciously, you will live from those that were formed in childhood through repetition, suggestion, and trauma. And those will continue to produce the same experiences until they are replaced. There is no neutrality in consciousness. You are always in a state, and each state has a corresponding world attached to it. Move into a new state, and you will walk into a new world. People often ask why their desires delay, why manifestations seem to come and go, or never arrive at all. The answer lies not in the external world, but in the inconsistency of inner feeling. They shift between states. One moment they affirm with passion, and the next they doubt, worry, or fear. This vacillation neutralizes the creative power. It is not enough to declare a thing once. You must dwell in it. You must make it your home in consciousness. And when it becomes your dwelling place, your world will be built around it. You need not know how the bridge of events will unfold. The mind that needs control, that insists on knowing every step, is the same mind that prevents manifestation. Let the means be the work of the unseen intelligence. Your task is to assume the state, to feel it so completely that you are no longer performing, no longer trying to convince yourself. You have entered into the experience and feel no need to explain it. That inner stillness, that confidence, that peace, that is the signal that your state is active and alive. Circumstances do not matter. They are echoes of old states. And you do not change your future by fighting the present. You change it by changing yourself. The question is not what is happening around you, but what is happening within you. What are you feeling to be true? What identity are you wearing? These are not abstract questions. They are the foundation of your experience. For you will never have what you do not first become in feeling. You may chase it with action. You may speak of it endlessly. But until it becomes your natural inner state, it remains beyond reach. The world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every event, every condition is playing out a scene from your inner world. The villain and the hero are both reflections. The betrayal and the blessing both come from the same source, your own consciousness. You are not being punished or rewarded. You are being shown. And what is shown is what is accepted. Not what you wish was true, but what you accept without resistance as your reality. When that shifts, everything else does. You do not need to change others, you need only change the self that is mirrored in them. You have been taught to rely on effort, to grind and strive and push. But this is not the method of true creation. True creation is quiet. It is inward. It begins with a decision to feel yourself into a new reality, and to remain loyal to that inner state regardless of appearances. This loyalty is not struggle, it is peace. It is the refusal to be seduced by facts. It is the quiet knowing that inner conviction is stronger than outer delay. Your environment, your finances, your relationships, these are not random. They are crystallized beliefs. They are the form that your assumptions have taken. If you wish to change them, you must return to the root. And the root is feeling. When you feel differently, you live differently. And when you live differently, the world reshapes to meet you. You are not a servant of fate. You are the writer of your story, the shaper of your life. And your pen is imagination guided by feeling. Do not fear the process. Do not look for signs before you believe. Believe and signs will follow. Let your state be the evidence, and the world will confirm it. That is the order of things. To feel is to command. To feel is to initiate. The one who feels a thing consistently, deeply, and joyfully is already in possession of it. And that possession, though invisible at first, becomes undeniable over time. The law cannot fail. It can only be misunderstood. And once understood, it sets you free. If you would change your world, do not waste your energy wrestling with appearances. Do not seek to alter the shadows, for shadows are but the projections of light filtered through the shape of your own consciousness. Instead of striking the mirror, change the face. The world outside is not the cause, it is the effect. The great mistake of man is the belief that transformation happens from the outside in. But the truth lies in the opposite direction. You change the outer by changing the inner. You change your experience not by rearranging external circumstances, but by entering into a new state of being within. The world is a stage, but it does not write its own script. Every scene, every actor, every event follows the silent command of your internal assumptions. This command is not issued in words but in feeling. What you feel to be true, though unseen, shapes what is seen. The most transformative act a person can make is the assumption of a new identity. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption, you lift yourself out of the old pattern and into a new order. The old world begins to dissolve, not because you fixed it, but because you no longer belong to it. There is no reason to fight with reality. To argue with it is to strengthen it. What you resist persists because resistance is attention, and attention is power. Do not ask life to bring you something different while feeding it the same inner emotion. You must make a new emotional investment. Enter the scene you desire inwardly. Experience it in its fullness. Breathe in its atmosphere and let it become more natural to you than what your senses report. This is not denial of facts, it is recognition of truth. Facts belong to the realm of appearances. Truth belongs to the realm of consciousness. Consciousness precedes fact. Always. You are not here to react, you are here to create. The reactive mind waits for evidence, then decides how to feel. The creative mind decides how to feel, then watches as evidence follows. This reversal of order is the key to manifestation. Feeling is not the result, it is the initiator. Feeling sets the tone, sets the course, and sets the destiny. When you feel abundance, abundance begins to take form. When you feel love, love begins to make its approach. The feeling becomes the mold, and the world pours itself into that mold without resistance. You have been taught to think logically, linearly in terms of cause and effect. But the higher law works from cause through consciousness. What you experience as cause in the outer world is only the echo of a deeper cause within the assumption you have accepted without question. You might not remember when it was adopted, but your world does because it reflects it. The world has no power except to mirror your state. And this mirroring is precise. The law is never arbitrary, never cruel, never blind. It simply returns to you the state you live in. Let no man say the world is unjust. Each one is living in a world made by their own belief. The hungry believe in lack, the rejected believe in unworthiness, the trapped believe in limitation. These are not moral failures. They are assumptions, and assumptions once changed, change the world. Not immediately, perhaps not because the law is slow, but because you have been long attached to the former state. Persistence is the secret. Not because persistence persuades the world, but because it persuades the subconscious to accept the new premise as natural. It is not necessary to force the world to comply. That would be like trying to bend your reflection in a mirror with your hands. The world bends when you bend within. And when you assume a new identity, the outer world must eventually conform. People, events, opportunities will move into alignment, often in ways you never imagined. This is the harmony of the unseen law. It is not your concern to figure out the how. Your responsibility is the feeling, the assumption. When the assumption is fixed, the rest unfolds with precision. You are not here to beg life for blessings. You are here to awaken to the truth that the blessing is already within you. It is only hidden when you look outward. But the moment you turn inward, the moment you accept that the world is not out there but within, you begin to reclaim your power. That is when things change. That is when new people arrive. That is when your health improves, your finances shift, your relationships mend. Not because you earned it, but because you assumed it. An assumption held with conviction must harden into fact. Make this your practice. When the world presents you with lack, respond with abundance in feeling. When it presents you with limitation, move into freedom inwardly. When you are rejected, assume acceptance. This is not fantasy, it is creation. To respond to appearances with imagination is to walk in the truth. And when imagination becomes more real than circumstance, the circumstance must change, not through magic, but through law. For what you accept in consciousness is what must be outpictured. There is no force outside of you deciding your fate. The world is not your judge, it is your servant. It does not command, it obeys. And what it obeys is your state of being. You are always telling it who you are by how you feel. So take your attention away from what is and place it firmly on what can be, on what already is in imagination. See it clearly, feel it deeply, live it inwardly, and let the outer world catch up. This is the way of transformation, not through resistance, not through struggle, not through effort, but through the quiet, the persistent assumption that the change you seek is already real. When that assumption becomes your dwelling place, the world must follow, because it was never leading you. It was only following you all along. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you assume. Wanting is the clearest confession of not having. Every time you say you want something, you affirm its absence in your life. You draw a line between yourself and the thing desired and declare that it is not yet yours. But assumption is the opposite. Assumption means you take the desire within yourself as already fulfilled, and by that act you collapse the distance between you and it. The law does not answer begging. It answers embodiment. It responds not to desperation, but to identification. And what you identify with inwardly and persistently, you externalize. The world responds only to your state. It does not respond to words, to rituals, or to effort if those are rooted in lack. If you affirm a thing, yet feel unworthy of it, the subconscious accepts your feeling, not your words. You may speak with eloquence and still receive nothing. But if you quietly and confidently assume the state of the wish fulfilled, without needing to explain, justify, or prove it, the world bends itself into the form of your belief. This is why it is said that belief makes all things possible. Because belief is assumption felt as real. It is not forced, it is accepted. You cannot continue to live in the emotional vibration of lack and hope to experience abundance. The world does not bring you what you long for, it brings you what you live from. You may not speak it, but your feelings never lie. You carry a certain mood, and that mood becomes your magnetic field. Every thought clothed in deep feeling becomes a seed in the subconscious, and every seed bears fruit after its kind. So when you feel rejected, you reap rejection. When you feel insecure, you experience more situations that reflect your insecurity. Not because the world is cruel, but because it is precise. This is the great mirror. You are always standing before it, casting the reflection of your own inner state. It is not enough to change the words you say. You must change the self you are being. And being is always revealed through what you feel. To want a thing implies that it is over there, far away someday. To assume a thing is to say, it is already mine. It is here. It is now. This is not wishful thinking. This is alignment with the truth that everything you desire already exists as a state of consciousness, waiting for your entry. You are not climbing toward your desires. You are selecting them. The infinite field of possibility contains all states, all conditions, all outcomes. There is nothing to create, only something to choose. And you choose by assumption. You do not ask permission. You do not wait for validation. You assume the state boldly, faithfully, and persistently, knowing that life will always mirror your inner movement. The only delay is the time it takes for you to truly accept that the state is yours. Many remain trapped in the cycle of effort, believing that if they try harder, they will finally earn their desire. But nothing must be earned, only accepted. The moment you accept that the thing you desire is already true in your inner world, You ignite a chain of events that must bring it into being. These events may seem random, coincidental, or even miraculous, but they are the natural result of a shift in consciousness. When you assume, you align. When you align, you receive. There is no need to convince anyone of your assumption. The universe is not democratic. It does not ask others to agree with your vision. It asks only that you persist in it. The world around you may laugh, may contradict, may mock your vision, but it is powerless against a soul that refuses to waver. The one who dwells in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, who walks in it as though it were fact, will watch the world conform. Not because they persuaded the world, but because they changed their identity. Assumption is the boldest act of faith. It says, though I do not see it, I accept it. Though the evidence denies it, I feel it as true. That feeling becomes the root, and the root guarantees the fruit. It is impossible to sustain a feeling without eventually seeing its outpicturing. The law is bound to produce after its kind, and assumption is the seed of all things. So test yourself, not with effort, but with stillness. Go within and ask, what am I assuming about myself? What am I assuming about life? What am I assuming about this desire? Am I living in the energy of already having it, or am I subtly affirming that it's not yet mine? These questions are not philosophical. They are diagnostic. They reveal the pattern behind your world. To change your life, you must change your assumptions. And to change your assumptions, you must feel something new. Not think, feel. The feeling is the creative act. It is the language of the subconscious. And once a new feeling is installed and nurtured, it becomes your reality. Because it was always your inner state that determined the outcome, not circumstances, not luck, not hard work, but assumption. The one who learns to live from the end, to embody the state of the fulfilled desire, becomes the master of time. They no longer look forward in hope, they look around in recognition. Their future collapses into the present, because the feeling of I will be has been replaced by I am. And when I am becomes your truth, the world bows in agreement. It must, for it is only ever echoing your inner proclamation. So do not want, assume, do not wish, embody. Let the inner state become so vivid, so alive, that the outer world becomes irrelevant. It will change in time, but by then you will have already changed, and that change is the only one that ever mattered. Begin now to feel differently, for nothing outside of you can bring you the change you seek until something within you is altered. The outer world, in all its complexity and activity, is powerless to shift the course of your life until you accept a new internal identity. This identity is not merely a change in self-description. It is the movement into a new emotional home, a new state of consciousness. You must abandon the old feeling and adopt the new, not when circumstances allow, but now in the present, in the silence of your being, regardless of what your senses report. The most sacred act you can perform is to feel as though your desire is already fulfilled. This feeling, when faithfully sustained, draws invisible threads through time and space and weaves them into physical events. But it begins with you right now deciding to feel differently. Not because the outer world gives you reason to, but because you no longer require permission to be who you choose to be. You are the one who must feel abundance in the face of lack, confidence in the presence of doubt, wholeness in the appearance of brokenness. This is the true creative act. When you alter your feeling, you shift your vibration, and your vibration is the magnet that pulls reality into alignment. You do not need to work harder. You do not need to search longer. You need only to feel more consistently. Feel from the end. Let the feeling of your desired state become your resting place, your natural mood, your internal climate. As you dwell in this new emotional state, life begins to match it with experiences, people, and events that are faithful to the assumption you now hold. This is not done through effort. It is done through surrender. You surrender the need to control outcomes and instead take control of your inner response. The feeling of the wish fulfilled must become more real to you than the facts of your current reality. That is how the unseen becomes seen. The subconscious does not care what is real or imagined, it only accepts what you feel to be true. And what it accepts, it expresses without hesitation. So give it something new to express. Feed it with the feeling of your ideal state. Let that feeling be nourished with repetition and intensity until it becomes your emotional truth. Do not wait for change to give you a reason to feel different. Change never comes first, feeling does. All transformation follows emotion. Emotion is the signal to the subconscious that something has shifted. When you begin to feel differently, even though nothing has changed, you are telling the deeper part of your mind, "This is who I am now." And when that message is clear and repeated, it becomes law. What is internalized is always externalized. What is felt within must be expressed without. This is not theory. It is law. It works whether you understand it or not. But when you do understand it, you move from living reactively to living intentionally. The world is already finished. Every possible state exists now. You do not create the future, you select it. And your selection is made by feeling. Not by thinking, not by hoping, not even by affirming, but by feeling. If you want to move to a new version of your life, begin to feel as though you are already living it. Let that feeling become the dominant tone of your days. Let it carry you through moments of doubt and appearances of contradiction. For contradiction does not cancel truth. It only tests your loyalty to it. The feeling must be stronger than the facts. That is how you master facts. You are never feeling in vain. Even when nothing seems to be changing, your feeling is creating new pathways in consciousness. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you reinforce a new pattern. You deepen the groove through which the future will flow. And one day, often without warning, reality will shift. The call will come, the meeting will happen, the result will appear. And you will remember that it began not with action, not with striving, but with a quiet, consistent feeling that said, "It is done." The greatest work you will ever do is the work of assuming your desired state in feeling. It is not flashy, it is not always immediate, but it is inevitable. Once you choose to feel differently, and you persist in that feeling, the world cannot help but change. It is not capable of resisting the vibration you offer. It must comply, for it is made of the same stuff you are, consciousness. When consciousness changes, reality changes. It does not negotiate, it obeys. There is no limit to the states you can enter. There is no desire too grand. The only limitation is your willingness to feel. If you are willing to feel the thing you desire as though it is already real, then you are worthy of it. Worthiness is not earned, it is assumed. And the assumption of worthiness is the first step toward manifestation. Begin now. Choose the state, and then feel it. Not as a guest, but as a resident. Live in that state. Walk in it, sleep in it, think from it, speak from it. Move through the world as one who already possesses what they once longed for. It does not matter how far away the desire appears. It does not matter what has or has not happened before. The only thing that matters is what you are willing to feel now. For now is the only moment in which reality can be created. The past has no power. The future is shaped by this very instant. If you choose now to feel differently, then the next moment will be different too. And as each moment follows the last, reality will reshape itself around your new emotional core. So do not wait. Do not ask. Feel. Let feeling be the key that unlocks the doors you thought were closed. And when the door opens, you will not be surprised. You will smile because you knew. You knew when you first felt it. You knew when you walked by faith and not by sight. You knew when you dared to believe that you did not need the world to change before you could. You changed, and so the world did too. Never say, "I will have it." That phrase alone reveals that you are not yet the thing you desire to become. It affirms separation. It places the fulfillment in a distant time, always postponed, always out there. But there is no creative power in futurity. Creation only takes place in the now. The moment you say I will, you deny I am, and what you deny in the present cannot be claimed in the future. The future is an illusion created by your present consciousness. What you claim now as real in feeling is what your world becomes. The only time that ever matters is this very moment, this now where feeling creates form. To declare it is mine is to take possession in the invisible. It is to announce to the subconscious that this is your truth, regardless of evidence. It is not arrogance. It is authorship. The true creator does not ask whether something can be, they declare that it already is. This declaration does not beg for approval. It does not wait for facts to catch up. It speaks from a place deeper than logic. It speaks from conviction born in the unseen. And that unseen becomes seen because it has been felt. You are always placing orders in the storehouse of life. Each word you speak, each emotion you embrace, each vision you hold with belief is a command to the infinite field of potential. That field does not discriminate between what is wanted and what is feared. It accepts only what is felt. So if you say I will but feel doubt, the doubt is what is fulfilled. If you say one day but feel unworthy now, the delay continues indefinitely. The law is not moved by intentions. It is moved by assumptions. And assumptions are simply what you feel to be true right now. To say it is done is to collapse time. It is to bring the future into the present and to make the invisible visible. This phrase, spoken with inner authority, carries the entire power of creation. It is not said to impress others, nor to convince the self. It is said from the deep knowing that once you assume something in feeling, it is accomplished. Whether the outer world reflects it instantly or gradually is irrelevant. What matters is that the state has been claimed, and once claimed, it must be expressed. This is not superstition or magic, it is structure. It is spiritual architecture. The world around you is a scaffold built on inner beliefs. You do not move the scaffold with your hands. You move it by shifting your position within. And the words, "it is done," are the anchor point of that shift. They fix your awareness in the completed desire. And from that position you begin to feel, think, speak, and act in accordance with what has already happened in your inner world. Do not wait for signs to begin feeling. Signs come because you feel, not before. You are not to chase evidence, but to be evidence. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and dwell in that state without wavering, signs begin to appear. But these signs are not the cause, they are the confirmation. They follow the shift, they do not lead it. The one who walks by sight waits, the one who walks by assumption leads, and the world follows them. To declare the end from the beginning is to stand as the master of your own fate. It is to say, I do not need to see it to believe it. I believe it, therefore I will see it. This belief is not blind. It is vivid. It is full of feeling. It is rich with inner details. It is not sterile hope, it is lived imagination. When you say it is done, you are not speculating. You are entering the scene inwardly. You are feeling the weight of the new ring on your hand, the sound of your new name being spoken, the atmosphere of the life that now belongs to you. And these inner sensations become the seed of the outer harvest. Your inner world does not lie. If you are honest with yourself, you will know whether you are truly assuming the state or simply wishing for it. Wishing is powerless. It keeps you separate from the object of desire. But assumption fuses you with it, and the words, "it is mine," spoken with emotional certainty, begin that fusion. It is a mystical act, one that only you can perform. No one can assume for you. No one can feel for you. You must enter the state yourself and remain there until it becomes your natural residence. There is a vast difference between hoping for a thing and living from the reality of it. Hoping says, I do not yet have it. Living from says, this is who I am now. The world responds not to your hope, but to your identity. Your identity is your assumption, and assumption is always revealed by your feeling. If you truly feel that you are wealthy, you will not ask for proof. If you truly feel loved, you will not search for validation. You will move differently, speak differently, expect differently. And the world will have no choice but to organize itself around your new truth. Begin now to use the power of inner finality. Walk as if the journey is already complete. Act as if the result has already been secured. Speak as if the prayer has already been answered. This is not performance, it is faith. It is the silent agreement between you and the unseen that what you have claimed is already accomplished. And that agreement once made must be honored. The world is bound to reflect what you have bound in consciousness. The phrase "it is done" is not a hope, it is a decree. It is the language of the Creator, not the beggar. And when you begin to speak like one who creates, when you begin to feel as one who already is, the world listens. It does not resist. It only reflects. You need not push. You need only persist. And as you persist, the outer world will bend to match the inner declaration. Because the inner is the source of all. The outer is only the echo. Speak the end, and the echo will answer in time. The world will mirror back what you are, not what you say. And this one truth holds the key to your entire life. The outer world is not independent of you. It is not a separate system governed by fate, chance, or effort. It is your mirror. Not metaphorically, but literally. You cannot experience anything in your external environment that you have not already assumed or accepted as possible within your inner self. Life is not reacting to your words or your wishes, it is reacting to your inner state. And that inner state is revealed by your feeling. Words without feeling are empty. You may speak about wealth while vibrating in poverty. You may affirm love while feeling lonely. And yet, the mirror does not reflect what you speak, it reflects what you are. And what you are is not a statement. It is a vibration, a dominant mood, a silent and persistent assumption. So it is not enough to say things are well. You must feel them to be well. Not because you are trying to manipulate life, but because life is already reflecting your internal condition. You are not asking life to give you something. You are showing life who you are, and life responds accordingly. If you feel broken, unworthy, small, insignificant, or defeated, even if only subtly, those feelings are received as instructions by the unseen world. Not because life wishes to punish you, but because it simply mirrors. It gives form to feeling. It shapes experience around belief. So to change your world, do not shout at it. Do not plead with it. Change the image you hold within yourself. Change what you silently know to be true. That change is reflected faster than you may think. You do not get what you want. You get what you are conscious of being. And being is a state, not a goal, not a dream, not a desire. The world forms around states. Not once, not occasionally, but always. This is why you cannot blame circumstances or point to others. You must return to yourself. Every person in your life is playing out the role that you have assigned them through your own assumptions. The one who respects you, the one who rejects you, the one who ignores you, all are acting according to the script written in your inner theater. You do not need to rewrite the outer play. You only need to become a new character within. When you change your inner state, the people around you will change, or they will leave, or new people will arrive to reflect your new assumption. The law is that precise. You need not convince anyone of your worth. You need not defend your vision or your truth. You need only persist in your new state of being, and the mirror will follow. For the mirror has no choice. It is lifeless without you. It reflects the light you bring to it. It casts back the shape you stand in. And that shape is your feeling of self. You are not attracting anything from outside. Everything is coming from within. Even those things you believe to be external were first imagined, assumed, or felt within your own being. And this is the reason change is not only possible, it is guaranteed when the inner change is real. It may not arrive on the day you expect, or in the form you imagined, but it must arrive. Because reality has no origin outside of consciousness. It does not function independently. It follows the pattern of thought. just as surely as a shadow follows the shape of an object. What you are on the inside is always communicating with the world, and it speaks louder than your words, your actions, or your rituals. If you want to know what you are assuming, do not look at what you hope for, look at what surrounds you. Your daily environment, your relationships, your finances, your opportunities, these are the reflections of your subconscious assumptions. And your subconscious is not hiding from you. It is showing itself through the world. This is not judgment, this is mercy. Because once you see what you've accepted, you can change it. And in changing it, you change everything. Let the mirror be your friend. Let it teach you what you are really feeling. And then go within, not to fix the world, but to correct your state. This correction is not effortful. It is surrender. You let go of the old belief and enter a new one, not in theory, but in sensation. You do not speak about being abundant. You feel abundance. You do not talk of healing. You feel wholeness. You do not beg for love. You feel loved. These feelings are not illusions. They are commands. They are the tones that shape the fabric of your reality. When you persist in a new state, the mirror takes time to catch up, but it always does. And when it does not feel like a miracle. It feels normal. Because by the time the outer reflects it, the inner has already lived it again and again. The world comes to confirm what you have already accepted. That is the secret. You are not using feeling to get something. You are using feeling to become something. And once you become it, you do not chase. You do not force. You simply allow the mirror to reflect what already is. There is no delay in the law. There is only delay in belief. If you accept a new state now and feel it with conviction, you begin to emit a new frequency. That frequency touches everything. People begin to treat you differently. Situations shift. Obstacles dissolve. But they do so because the energy that created them has been removed. You are not fighting the world. You are reprogramming your inner self, and the world adjusts like a shadow adjusting to a new light. So always remember, the mirror does not lie. It does not judge. It does not delay when the inner is clear. It simply reflects. And your job is not to change the reflection, but to change the source. You are the source. The mirror is the proof. And when the inner changes, the outer has no choice but to follow. All that you seek is already within you, not as a vague potential, but as a present reality waiting to be acknowledged. The great secret is not to work for your desires, but to feel them into being. You do not beg life for blessings. You do not wait for signs. You do not chase results. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and in that assumption you become the thing itself. What you feel consistently and faithfully, you inevitably express. Creation is finished. Your role is not to construct, but to select. Not to push, but to accept. The world is not responding to your effort, it is responding to your identity. And identity is rooted in assumption. You are not what you hope to be. You are what you believe yourself to be right now. Every word you've spoken, every thought you've entertained, every feeling you've embraced has been shaping your reflection. If you wish to know what you've believed about yourself, look at your life. If you wish to change it, change the inner state from which you live. No man is denied but by himself. No desire is withheld except by inner contradiction. The moment you align your feeling with your vision, the world must obey. This is the law not of force, but of faith. And faith is not something you acquire, it is something you choose. You choose to believe that your inner world is the cause of your outer experience. You choose to feel now what you once thought was distant. You choose to speak, walk, think, and breathe as the one who already is. It is already yours, it always has been. The only question is, will you dare to feel it? Will you claim it in silence when no one else sees? Will you live from the end while the world still echoes the past? That is the path of the Creator. That is the walk of the awakened. And if you take that path unwavering, then you will discover that what you once imagined was always waiting for you to assume it.